Hello and welcome to our Toronto. Anthony Ricciardi was born colorblind, attended a U.S. university on a baseball scholarship. After graduating with a degree in finance, he worked for a Toronto investment firm. But he gave all that up for his art, and he's inviting people to a unique pop-up space at Yorkdale Mall to experience that art for themselves.
So what we've created here is we've taken an older industrial space inside a mall and put contemporary modern pieces of art onto the wall. So the vision was to have like this rougher space, old brick wall with new modern images. And also the use of either really well-known figures or historical figures, that they are so prominent in your artwork. And what's behind that, I'm curious? I think that, referring to celebrity figures or people that have made an impact and ultimately followed their heart or followed their dreams is what has always inspired me. And so that's why I use a lot of, famous pop culture images, and even something like, a Benjamin Franklin. This piece here specifically is that I had it edited to have him winking at us. And the entire concept actually was that money doesn't matter. It was sort of a poke fun at, we're always so worried and preoccupied with our jobs or whatever we're doing in the moment because we need money. But ultimately, if we take a step back and realize that money doesn't matter, doesn't ultimately make us happy, we'll be forever happier. My main goal about adding the writing is that every time, if an individual were to put this in their homes or in their offices or in their buildings, the goal is that every time you walk by, you'll find something that you didn't see before. I think that having all the different type of writing really opens itself up to a world of interpretation for the viewer.
Just always revealing something
that's
new
definitely
or
the
different.
goal, yeah, for sure.
Well, and speaking of revealing something new,
yes.
different, that brings us to this section.
For sure. So what we did was Yorkdale and I partnered up to we have our base canvases, and we wanted to create a space that took elements of those paintings and brought them into a three-dimensional state. And the whole concept of it was to take, everyone's used to a typical gallery or my canvases and stuff, but I want to implement each little aspects of it and bring it into a three-dimensional state so people can actually immerse themselves in the art. Where historically we're used to seeing an art gallery and having either a border or a roped off area where we can't touch, feel, and actually interact with it.
Yes.
With this, we want to take it a step further and actually make it three-dimensional so people can actually enjoy it.
So by intention, that was the point of doing this, is to have people immerse themselves in your art.
Exactly. So instead of having, blocked off walls where people had to actually go inside and feel it, we wanted to have a nice and open concept. That's why we kept it very fresh. As you can see, the green grass and having it like we wanted to create an experience that people walked into that they had never seen before, especially in a luxury shopping center like Yorkdale. This is the dream space where each of the installations are meant to inspire and get people to dream larger. So as you're walking through, one of the first things you have to do on your journey to following your dreams is dream larger than life. And so, people will be able to immerse themselves in the grass or in the things and, act like they can plant their own seeds. And everyone that comes through the space will get a pamphlet with each of my inspiration behind each thing. And this is, watch your seed grow. So the next step after that is we have to make sure that we actually are following up on that dream. And I did the fur wall with the chairs and everything, so people can actually take a second to themselves to come here and truly enjoy it and take a second and look up to say, these are my dreams. This is what I want to do and ultimately achieve.
Okay, I'm thinking Benjamin Franklin is part of that experience.
I think that's for sure. So. What we've created here, what we're walking to now, is our money pit. It ties back to my story that, I worked in finance for 5 years, graduated with a finance degree, and ultimately left a structured and stable career to pursue my passion, which is art. And I think that this was a funny way to sort of tie it all back together, saying we have a money pit here that let's not fall into it, but let's also enjoy it and have fun with the fruits of our labor.
So show me how you'd like people to enjoy this.
Yeah, this is definitely a super, super fun experience for everyone, because it would be the one time where we can actually jump in and enjoy the money pit, and we can, and people will be able to, spend as much time as they want. They can come with their friends and take money and ultimately throw it up. So now you have to come in, you have to try it.
I have to come in, okay.
Yes, you definitely,
Here we go.
it's super comfy, don't worry.
Look at that! I'm in the money pit. I think because we live in a social media world, how much of that do you think about when you're trying to create a space like this, that it's going to be, say, very Instagrammable?
For sure. I think it's part of our generation, but I think that ultimately, for us, it was a really seamless thing to do because we took pieces of my artwork and just brought them to a three-dimensional state. It was easy for people to see themselves and picture themselves in it. Like that's our tagline of is, picture yourself here.
So, I mean, your work has been featured in so many places, and a lot of people have appreciated your artwork too, including some really well-known people. So, tell me a little bit about, who's into your art, who's purchased it, and what they've said about it, and why they're drawn to it.
For sure. No, I've been very, very, very grateful and to be able to travel around the world with my wife and create, artwork at various scales in terms of murals and art shows. And recently in Miami, we had a solo show during Art Basel, which is a large art show that goes on there every December. Shaquille O'Neal and James Harden and a bunch of other, NBA and sports figures have always been so inspirational to me. A lot of the artwork, like we discussed earlier, I use these figures, especially growing up from a sports background. I played baseball in university. I always look to these athletes as inspiration. So, having my life come full circle where I get to meet and have dinner with Shaquille O'Neal and to create a piece for his home has been a true dream come true.
What is it like to be able to realize this space?
It's always been something that's been in my mind. Like I grew up painting, I grew up in arts. My uncle was an artist and I took a lot of inspiration from him growing up. So I think for me, it's always been something that I wanted to do, but popular culture or just society will tell you, becoming an artist is not realistic, Anthony. Like, what, are you serious? Like, right? and when I say artist, I mean any creative because it goes hand in hand with musicians, with sculptors, with actors. It's a very tough thing to break into, and the key driver to all that is true, consistent, and persistent effort and moving forward and continuing to dream and never giving up. And that trait has been common in my life, but for everything that I did in baseball, going to finance to this, and I think I see it in a lot of other people. So it's a continued inspiration. I just want to make sure that I can relay that to other people. That I know it sounds hard, but it really is ultimately, it is possible.
Dream Space is on Yorkdale Shopping Centre from now until the summer. If you're interested in seeing more of Anthony's pieces, his work is also on exhibit at Mindset in Yorkville.